Birmingham and Labor's Graham Perrott. First, though, I'm joined in Sydney by Rhiannon, the Greens Senator. Senator Rhiannon, thanks very much for your time. A lot to talk about. First of all, on the Bronwyn Bishop issue, you're suggesting that the federal police have been politicised in this by not pursuing it. Isn't this process the right process to go through the Department of Finance first, and then if they find anything untoward, then the authorities, like the police, it's referred to them on that at that point?
I made those comments because of the inconsistency with the Peter Slipper case, the former Speaker. He had used $900 on various taxis and other aspects of his travel that was investigated by the Australian Federal Police, and the Greens think that that should be applied here. My understanding with regard to the rules that you just mentioned is that it can be referred to the AFP, that it doesn't need to go through the Department of Finance and then be referred on. There's what's called the Minchin Protocol, but that was just some words that were agreed to, that there is no problem with the AFP investigating, and I think it's very important that they do so.
But you respect the fact that it's an independent agency, the AFP, and that politicians shouldn't really be directing them to do anything, that they might refer something to it, but it's the AFP's judgment, surely.
Oh, of course, and I haven't questioned or suggested otherwise. All I've just supported is the calls for the AFP to investigate and point out, and I think it is important that we do reflect on that inconsistency, and I hope that that's the reason that the AFP will now move quickly on this important matter.
Do you think Bronwyn Bishop should step down as Speaker of the Parliament, given the use of the chopper, now reports of the use of another chartered flight to a fundraiser?
Look, I think at least she should step aside. I think the stepping down issue is interesting and happy to speak about that. But right now we have an extraordinary situation, and let's just reflect on the one incident we know of fully at the moment, or to some extent, the $5,000 for this chopper, is if Mrs Bishop signed that parliamentary form for the $5,000, then it appears that that is fraud. That's why we're saying the AFP should investigate. If what appears to be evident is found to be the case, she should be prosecuted, and if she is then convicted, she certainly at that point, I would say, resign from Parliament.
But do you accept her argument that if she's attending a fundraiser or whatever else and representing the Parliament, discussing the operations of Parliament, that's fair use of the money in that sense?
Look, firstly, let's remember that the Prime Minister, Tony Abbott, was one of his captain's pick, as they say, gave Mrs Bishop this job, $340,000, I understand it's a salary. Many other allowances go with it. Now, when it comes to this area, that's been suggested as a grey area, but I would dispute that, between when are you attending a party fundraiser and when are you doing your parliamentary work. Well, you know what is a you know what is a party fundraiser if money is being raised for your party, and that's where I think it is really becoming even insulting to the Australian public. And one of the reasons I'm raising this issue is because I'm finding increasing cynicism amongst the public about MPs, about our democratic institutions, and this is adding to it.
Senator Rhiannon, to another issue, and yesterday you attended a rally to basically combat the Reclaim Australia rally. Were you happy with the way that people behaved? There were 5 arrests at that Sydney event.
Oh, look, certainly these protests and these actions should always be peaceful, and that's why I attended to add my voice to a peaceful action, which overwhelmingly was conducted in that way. And again, the main reason I attended is my increasing concern about this movement that really is very divisive. It's very bigoted at times, racist at times, and I'm disappointed that the Prime Minister isn't adding his voice in a very strong way to the need for an inclusive multicultural society. That's the message we need to hear from our political leaders.
But just as you have every right to attend the rally you did, doesn't George Christensen and the others who attended the other rally in a democracy have a right to express their views?
Look, in a democracy one has rights to express one's views, but when you're an MP and you're attending a rally that is linked with bigotry, racism and really targeting the Muslim community. Now, he may just talk about radical Islam, but if you read his whole speech and you look at how it's playing out with some of the actions that Senator Cory Bernardi engages in, it sends a fear into the community where these levels of racism are on the rise. So I stood there yesterday because of my concern of the victimisation many people are suffering because of these policies.
Senator Rhiannon, thanks for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.